What's up, YouTube? So today is August 1st. I meant to do this video a couple days ago, didn't quite get around to it, so here we are. So the purpose of this video today, I want to talk about the tariffs now that they are here, how that's going to affect my business. If you're a collector, a reseller, what this is going to mean for you, the market, the hobby for Japanese product, and some big change that we have coming up in 4 weeks that's going to have a major impact on it. So to start off, if you haven't been following for the past few months, we've been talking a lot about tariffs, right? The federal government has been working with a lot of different countries to try to come up with trade deals to solve the deficit. We're not going to get into this out or the other. The purpose of this is to solely focus on how the policy change will affect this niche market of Pokemon cards. I understand there's a lot of reasons, pros and cons on both sides, depending on what angle you're looking at it, and we're going to focus solely on the TCG hobby. So, what we were doing up until this point is we were paying 10% tariff fees on the imported product coming in from Japan. So, I import Japanese cards, I don't deal with Chinese, Indonesian. So, for me, I was paying 10%. Now, the caveat to that is I could fall under what was called the de minimis rule. That was an exception for if you brought in under $800, then you were not subject to have to pay the tariff, right? So for someone like me, who on rare days am selling below $800, I can replenish my stock easily with up to an $800 limit order per day. So for me, that allowed me to be able to sell at a lower price point and still keep my margin versus a larger retailer, say like Pokiani, right? If you guys are watching this video, you've probably heard of him. He's a big fish in this space. I don't want to speak about how his business operates. However, I'd be willing to guess he is probably selling more than $800 a day worth of product, which means in order to restock himself, he probably would not be able to sustain his inventory levels if he had to order under 800, which means if he's ordering over $800 worth of stuff, he is paying 10% more on the entire order, right? So if he orders $1,000 worth of stuff, $100 is tacked on the fee, right? So it's $1,100 payment for $1,000 worth of stuff, and I'm not having to pay that. So I can see the argument that it is unfair, right? But that was business, right? That was a rule. I am using that to propel myself forward, and it's what it is. I'm not crying about the change. Business is always changing. I'm gonna have to adapt. What this is leading up to is at the end of this month, I believe it's August 29th, the de minimis rule is going away. So it was supposed to stick around for another couple of years. Trump has issued an executive order on that, and that is now no longer the case. So I have about 4 weeks at that time. The de minimis rule is going away. That means I will be paying 15%, the same as everybody else, regardless of how much I'm ordering, right? So with the new deal effective today, tariffs are now going to sit at 15% between the US and Japan. So product coming in will sit at 15%. The de minimis rule, which I can still utilize up until the end of this month, until it goes away, will still be something I can take advantage of. At that point, I will be paying 15%, the same as everybody else. Does not matter if I'm ordering $50 worth of stuff, $100 worth of stuff, I will pay 15%. So what does that mean? That means the price of stuff is going up. That's just the reality of it, right? You may see smaller price increases with some of the other guys because they're already having to pay the 10%, so they're just tacking on that extra 5 and calling it a day. Or someone like myself, I did not have to take really into account for most stuff 10% extra fees on that. So my prices, I'm gonna have to take a hard look and do some adjustment and see where I can land, where I'm still gonna be able to be competitive on that, right? And again, not crying about it. It just is what it is. Because of that, there are things that I have to consider. Today, being the day the tariffs take effect, it's kind of a bad day, right? Today was the release for the new Pokemon TCG block, right? Not just set, but new block, right? We're leaving Scarlet Violet behind, and the new block was coming out, Mega Brave, Mega Symphonia. Up until the day of release, the only available product I could have gotten were in cases. I cannot order. I did get some ordered. They'll be here next week. Last night, when box sets became available, but prior to that, I could only order the cases. And by the time the cases were over $1,000, I had to look at myself and say, you know what? I get that case, right? Let's just say make it simple, that case was $1,000. I order that case because it is over $800. I would have had to pay 15% tariff on it starting today. That would have meant that $1,000 case paid to them would actually cost me $1,150. Right now, out of 12 boxes, you average that out, and you're looking at anywhere from about 15 extra dollars or so per box. And that's something I can't really absorb that, because will the market accept that? Say, just to make it simple, this was a $100 box, right? Say Mega Brave is $100. But because of the 15% that I had to pay on top of that, that box actually costed me $115. Can I sell that box? Will the market sustain a price that people will buy at, where I can make money off of it, having to pay that 15%? I didn't think I'd really be able to do that. And you know how it goes, right? Prices always kind of a little higher, a new set comes out, and then they start to drop for the most part. So I opted to wait, not have pre-orders done for it. I don't have the product as of today. I could have, I opted not to. And instead, I waited till late last night when cases were not the only thing available. I could then start ordering the individual booster boxes, order that, kept it below $800, and each day I will continue to order some more stock and inventory. But that way I can get those boxes without the added 15%. That will help keep my price low, up until, like I said, to the end of the month, when I will also be subject to those 15% fees. So is it having an effect on my business? Yes, indirectly. It is changing how I have to, or my decision onto how to get product in for this new set. It's unfortunate. It just is what it is. I would have loved to have had it starting today, but I just wasn't going to be able to absorb that extra cost, and probably be able to profit off that. Might have gotten burned on that. So just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the tariffs, the upcoming end of the de minimis rule, and we'll see if anything changes. Each week is like a year in this space right now. So we'll see what happens, but just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that. If you are in the business of selling Pokemon, how are you planning on adjusting this? If you are a collector, if you are a reseller, leave your thoughts down below. Ask me some questions. Let's see, if you are a collector and you see a box that's normally supposed to be $100, and now a month from now it's going to be $115 from one day to the next because the elimination de minimis, are you still willing to pay that price, right? Because that's the reality. You're not going to see, here's the price, plus tariff fee equals, here's your checkout price. You're just going to check TCG player, and you're going to see, oh, hey, look, market price is going up. That's the reality of it. Because that's what's going to happen. The price is just going to go up, and we'll see if people are still willing to pay that price, right? Are people going to buy it, but we're going to have lower sales volume? Are people just going to, pull back, and we're seeing, the stuff, just crashing, but no sales? It'll be interesting to see what happens. For obviously, my perspective, I hope that it will still sell, because I plan on having it by next week. I already have some orders in, but we'll see. So next time, take care. See you guys later.